It just got better and better selling it. Okay, item number 12, which is important, is the recovery office update. And I'd welcome to the table Mace and Tanya Stocks. Is Matt Tucker available? Tanya, are you coming up yet? No. Pardon? What?
Denise O'Shaughnessy.
Oh, Denise O'Shaughnessy. I'm sorry. Hello, Denise. Your name wasn't down here. I apologies. Okay. Bring us up to date, please.
Kia ora, Worship and councillors, good to be here and thank you for your time. We know you've had a long day. Two purposes today: provide you an update for the Tamaki Makaurau Recovery Office and also seek your approval of the outcomes and objectives of the Tamaki Makaurau Recovery Plan, the refresh plan, and I'll get Denise to take you through that at the moment. Just hitting some of the high spots though, you will see the dashboard that's been circulated, and just to reference a couple of those, our focus has really been on implementing the categorisation scheme and your approval on the 6th of October of that scheme with central government. We've now been able to really, if you like, turbocharge that work. Some good news and a bit of an update around placards from our regulatory services colleagues together with us. We're now down to 264 reds and 1,078 yellows, so those continue to come down and people getting back in their homes and safe, dry homes where they can. We have, I would note that the Ministry of Social Development's investment in the Navigator service of over $2.39 million to really assist people get the right advice and services to make decisions around categorisation. And an update around where we've got to in terms of doing the desktop assessments. From a landslips point of view, landslide assessments, the update there is we've now completed 1,000 assessments and we've got another 180 underway. And in terms of flooding, we've completed over 500 assessments and those are tuning through. So the system is working. We expect to have the first tranche of categorisation, final categorisations and offers out next week. So we are progressing things quite strongly. If I can hand over to Denise to just take you through the recovery plan objectives and principles for your approval or consideration. Thank you.
Thanks, Mace. Kia ora koutou. So the interim recovery plan was brought to the governing body in June, and the plan is intended to define recovery activities and ensure there's coordination and integration amongst all those involved in its delivery. So since June, there's been public consultation on the plan, and feedback on that was reported to you in September. So as Mace said, this report's seeking approval of the outcomes, the objectives, and the principles for the plan. And these have been refined a little since the interim plan, not a huge amount, on the basis of consultation and further work and understanding that's come through the recovery process and program. The plan is intended to provide a broader context for the recovery, so it will include existing council direction and plans that we already have that are about improving Tamaki Makaurau's resilience. The plan will include both regional and local considerations for recovery, but it won't set out detailed plans for local areas that are severely impacted. That will follow this plan. So today we're seeking feedback on those outcomes and objectives and principles that are in the report, and then following today there'll be also a broader opportunity on the plan's content for you to provide direction on that. There's a workshop next Wednesday. We will also be briefing local board members on the 20th of November, and in the meantime we'll be doing ongoing work and engagement with our partners and key stakeholders as we finalise the plan. The final plan will be brought to you on the 14th of December for your approval. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. This item sort of runs more or less together into the next one, or the Recovery Office budget, but we'll treat them separately. But I'll take any questions that pertain specifically to the update. or hold them until we get into the next bit as well. But Julie Ferry has one, and so does Richard Hills. So we'll take these on the update. Then we'll move to the Recovery Office budget, which is kind of linked automatically, obviously. So on the update, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just acknowledging the team in terms of their massive amount of work, and nice to have Mace in my ward last night. I don't know if you're coming again tonight for some more community discussions. My question is really about how quickly we're getting through those categorisations. I noticed the e-news that went out today gave people, I think, probably hopefully a better idea about some of the timeframes, but how are we making sure that, because that's the most common thing I'm getting, is people coming back to me going, hey, I did the survey, 2-3 months ago, but I haven't heard anything. So how are we able to pick up the pace with that? What do you need that can help?
Thanks, Councillor Ferry. Well, I in terms of just mention those highlights around the 1,000 landslip risk assessments. So we are getting through those quite quickly. Flooding, the same, over 500. People should be getting feedback. We had one person last night and in the Albert Eden ward with yourself and Councillor Fletcher, that their phone blocked no caller ID. So we managed to fix those things. Those are small things, but they're important for people. We expect to be releasing categorisations around 30 to 80 per week from November. We are going to be targeting those areas where people are most displaced from their homes, as if we can follow that process, and where the most anxiety is. But we are pushing as fast as we can. The other update, you'll see a media release coming out. We've brought in extra people working from Australia for the geotech reports. That's why we've been able to make that more rapid progress, and we're doing the same for flooding. So we are gearing up. Your support has been welcomed. Thank you.
So can I just clarify then, so 30 to 80 a week starting in November, so that's how long is that going to take then? Because that seems to me some people won't know by Christmas, which I know, we have this artificial thing about people knowing things by Christmas when sometimes actually they get a better outcome if it takes longer. I'm not, but that's going to be the conversation, right?
It will run through to February, Councillor Ferry.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, thanks, Mayor. The questions, and kia ora everyone, and thank you for all the work you're doing. And I know it's complex. I guess without making it sound like people are numbers on a spreadsheet, but how are we sort of triaging everyone as we go? Because it's going to get harder. It'll probably get quite stressful, and people are going to get more desperate. But there's going to be people connected, there's slips, there's problems over here. There's going to be a load of people who have massive issues, but we actually can't help them with the category 3. We won't be buying them out, but they will expect advice or help or assistance. I'm sure many of us are dealing with that, bringing council teams out and then we can't really say anything. But how do we keep all those people so we can almost case manage them so they're not having to explain themselves 1,000 times to different parts of the organisation?
Thank you, Councillor Hills. Without straying into the next item, we have the customer relationship system we have is around a case management approach, looking at people firstly who are displaced from their homes, have nowhere to live, so giving those people of highest priority, looking at that secondly from an area basis, from where the most impacts are, the greatest impacts are, and then actually the timing of when people opted into the categorisation. Your second question about how are we assisting people, so we are coordinating across the organisation and across central government organisations, non-government organisations, NGOs, to coordinate. So the MSD funding's been really helpful for that, for the 20 navigators we have in-house, but we also have an expression of interest out with iwi and non-government organisations to assist in that area as well. So we are taking a multi-channel approach, but in a case management approach, we know who's talked to a homeowner, a resident, an affected person, and what's been said.
Cool, thank you. So from now on, unless it's very specific, it's still best to go recovery office and then you'll kind of spread out rather than what probably myself and others have been doing a bit of back and forth. Is that the easiest way for us? Because it will get more difficult if we keep making your lives harder too.
That would be the easiest way, a single point of contact, and then we don't trip over each other. Thank you.
And then probably the last, and sorry Mayor, the last conversation, at what point, so you know, there's thousands of properties and we're going to be aiming at around 700 still, at what point are you doing the people who are definitely not going to get sort of buyout, or, you know, how are you breaking how are we kind of taking people off the list in a sad way, but in a very, so they can move on and address issues, because there's going to be a lot of people, and I hear it a lot, who think that we are going to help them with what are probably big issues to them, but don't fit the criteria at all around assistance. How do we give them certainty really soon that they can't and won't get help from us because we don't have 10 billion or you know?
Yeah, so it's a good question. What we are doing as part of those people who have opted in and asked for help, part of those assessments are about saying whether they are a category 1, 2 or 3. So the ones is a clear indication you can get on and repair your home, but here's where you can get the advice and help, but they are category 1, they're on their own recognizance with some assistance. So that help, we have issued quite a number of category 1s already from people who have opted in.
And probably very last thing, and it's all sort of connected, can we get a bit of a map, and maybe it's our own areas, but it probably makes sense for us to be able to access all, of the, lots of the work in mitigation has been going on, has been really great in fixing slips on public land, there's been some really good healthy waters work, but we don't get to really see that unless we happen to stumble across it or we worked with residents. It would be good for us to see that picture a bit more, so that road was fixed. I've gone and seen some amazing works that I had no idea had sort of happened, and it would start giving us a picture of how we can help tell that story. Look, we've fixed these 7 roads and these slips, there's those ones to go. I just don't have an idea of, you know, these are going to be fixed or this culvert will be repaired in 2 years' time. That's probably a mess right now, but there's something in it that we can kind of give that story to really those hard-hit suburbs and areas, that there is a plan, just up the road we fix that, down the road that won't be fixed because it's not urgent, or it's just hard to get that information unless we stumble across it.
We'll take that on board. I would draw your attention to the dashboard, Councillor Hills, though, where from the infrastructure point of view, Auckland Transport's completed 52% of the 3,000 odd projects that are in there, and parks and community facilities have also made extremely good progress with their projects as well, but I appreciate the spatial.
Okay, thanks very much for that. I think we can probably, I'll move, and the Deputy Mayor will second us with receiving this, note the progress and support the work that you've done, prove the objectives, and note that the plan includes regional and local considerations for recovery, and detailed plans have been for the areas that